In this video, I'll be taking a fairly unscientific look at three small diaphragm condenser mics: the Rode NT5, the SE Electronics SE8 and the Rode NT5. Currently, both the NT5 and SE8 can be purchased in matched pairs for around £275, while the M5 is available as matched pair for around £135. At this point, I should emphasise that for my intended use, i.e. recording dialogue, having matched pairs of mics wasn't particularly important. But as both the SE8 and NT5 matched pairs come with extra goodies at pretty much the same price as buying two single mics, and the M5s aren't available singly anyway, matched pairs seem the way to go. All of the mics are supplied with foam windshields, plastic mic clasps and the usual stickers. Both the SE8 and NT5 matched pairs are sold with a custom hard carry case, while the M5s are sold in no-frills packaging, i.e. a simple cardboard box without any storage pouch or hard case, undoubtedly in an attempt to maintain a very keen price point. The SE8s have the added bonus of a stereo bar thrown in with the matched pair deal. Both the Rode M5 and NT5 are very minimal, without either pad or high-pass filters, while the SE8 has a 10 dB or 20 dB pad switch and a switchable 6 dB per octave high-pass filter at either 80 or 160 Hz. The NT5 has the option of screw-on interchangeable capsules, with an Omni capsule available as an additional purchase, though it's the cardioid configuration I'll be talking about here. The form factor of the mics differ in terms of their size, with the M5 and NT5 being positively dwarfed by the SE8, although to be honest, the SE8 isn't by any standards a large mic. So, why did I decide to take a look at these mics? 3 months into coronavirus lockdown, I had a public sector gig come in that involved filming a series of conversations between pairs of talent. While I'd normally use a pair of shotgun mics in this situation, and if room acoustics made this unworkable switch to using lav mics as a backup, I knew that under the circumstances, the idea of repeatedly swapping lav mics between talent wasn't going to sit well with social distancing and hygiene recommendations. So I had to find another backup solution if using shotguns proved problematic, and the obvious choice was to use small diaphragm condensers. While I would have loved to be able to justify purchasing a pair of higher end mics for the gig, I decided to be sensible and get hold of and try some budget SDCs, which I could then substitute if my usual shotguns proved problematic. Because of lockdown, going into a store to audition and purchase mics wasn't possible, so I decided to order a few mics online for comparison. The first two mics that I identified as likely targets were the NT5 and SE8, both of which suited my budget, and both of which, from what I'd already read and watched online, would be likely to give me the results I wanted. I also decided to take a punt on the Rode M5s, which, although only around half the price of my other choices, had very respectable views from a number of sources, including Sound on Sound magazine, and at such an attractive price seemed like a potentially cheap fix. There were other obvious choices that I could have auditioned, such as the Octava MK012 or the Sennheiser E614, but to be honest, my credit card was already taking a fair hit in the short term, and having two sets of mics to return seemed quite enough. The recordings were made using a Focusrite Scarlett 6i6 audio interface into GarageBand at 24-bit 48 kHz. Okay, not the very highest quality recording solution available, but let's be honest, good enough to hear any similarities or differences between three microphones, or at least any differences that are going to matter in practice. The mics were mounted about 25 cm in front of and above my head, with their axes pointing directly at my chest, which is fairly typical for an out-of-shot placement for a video interview. The recording space was an untreated, uncarpeted room, approximately 3 metres square by 2.1 metres high. I've avoided passing any objective judgment on the overall quality of the mics, as I'm all too aware that sonic characteristics can be very subjective, but I felt I could comfortably comment on my preferences and on how suitable each mic is for recording dialogue from a range of voices. I was looking for something with a decent degree of upper mid clarity to aid the intelligibility of recorded speech, but I also wanted this balanced with some richness in the lower end, making the mic suitable for a range of voices. So, Without further ado, here are the mic recordings for you to listen to. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogroves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jubjub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogroves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jubjub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. 'Twas brillig, and the slithy toves did gyre and gimble in the wabe. All mimsy were the borogroves, and the mome raths outgrabe. Beware the jabberwock, my son, the jaws that bite, the claws that catch. Beware the jubjub bird, and shun the frumious bandersnatch. In the end, I opted for the SE Electronics SE8s, which to my ears gave the most pleasing and potentially useful result for recording dialogue. While the NT5 had plenty of upper mid clarity, probably slightly more than the SE8 to be honest, I found it lacked richness further down. These two features combined to make it feel slightly too aggressive to my ears. It would probably suit a softer voice that needs a little sharpening up quite well, but conversely I felt this would make it overly harsh with more edgy or sibilant voices. Make no mistake, this is a good mic, particularly at this price point, and if I could justify in any way whatsoever owning two pairs of small diaphragm condensers, I'd probably have kept them. I found the M5 a little flat, not really providing that little emphasis in the high mids that would help with the intelligibility of speech. Interesting, as the frequency response graph would indicate a similar presence lift to its sibling the NT5 and a similar overall response to the SE8. Meanwhile, I found that along with upper mid edge, the SE8 also helped nicely lower down, making it feel well balanced and a good choice for a range of voices, which is what I most needed. Others may disagree with my choice and my findings, which is fine. I'd be interested to see your comments below. Obviously, if you're going to use small diaphragm condenser mics for recording musical instruments, making environmental recordings and so on, you're likely to want something less coloured and may want to look elsewhere for comparisons and opinion. But I thought I'd share my thoughts on these mics for my purposes, i.e. recording dialogue, and hopefully you'll find them useful. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If not, then don't. It's a free country. I'll see you again soon with more thoughts on video production gear and practices. Take care.